Welcome to Galveston Unscripted. Galveston's main business street, famously known as the Strand, in the late 1800s was dubbed as the Wall Street of the Southwest, due to the influx of port vessel traffic and establishment of numerous financial institutions. The Strand runs parallel to the port and the bay. The Strand is generally used to refer to the entire 5-block business district between 20th and 25th Streets in the downtown area. However, this episode is covering the single street called Strand, not the entire downtown district. The earliest city layout, drawn in the late 1830s, includes Avenue B, which was the name of the street before it was dubbed the Strand. The origins of the name are not quite agreed upon. Some have speculated that it was named after the well-known London street called Strand, to make the street seem more prominent. Strand comes from the Old English word for shore or river bank. Today, Galveston holds one of the biggest collections of historic buildings in the United States. The Strand's ornate Victorian buildings are still the envy of cities all over the country, a favorite destination of architects and tourists alike. The earliest buildings were typically wooden and were vulnerable to fire and deadly hurricanes that often affected the fledgling island community. Eventually, as the city surged economically, those structures were replaced with iron-fronted brick buildings, many of which we can still see and explore. Beginning in the 1830s, due to the Port of Galveston's enormous vessel traffic, between 700 and 1,400 vessels calling every year, the Strand became a popular place for major businesses to set up shop. Wholesalers, cotton agents, paint, drug, grocery, dry goods, insurance companies, commission merchants, cotton brokers, attorneys, and before the Civil War, even slave auctioneers. A few buildings in the downtown district date back to the mid-1850s. Other historic buildings typically date back to the 1870s and 1880s. Galveston's premier architect, Nicholas Clayton, designed 15 commercial structures on the Strand. 8 of them still stand. Throughout the 19th century, the port city of Galveston boomed, and the Strand, which is very close to the harbor, grew into the region's main business center. From 1838 to the late 1800s, 18 newspapers were started in Galveston. Most of them were headquartered on the Strand. The Galveston Daily News, founded in 1842, is the lone survivor that still operates today, and is the oldest newspaper in Texas. During the Civil War, when the Union forces blockaded Galveston, many businesses on the Strand closed up shop and moved to Houston for the duration of the war. The land portion of the Battle of Galveston was fought around 20th Street, on and around Coons Wharf. The Confederate forces on the island fought from the Strand, at the Hindley Building and the immediate surrounding area. As the Civil War came to an end, on June 19, 1865, the southwest corner of 22nd Street and the Strand is the location of the Union Army's Declaration of General Order No. 3, which officially freed all enslaved people in the state of Texas. This historic event is known as Juneteenth and is now a national holiday in the United States. After the Civil War, the city of Galveston thrived. The port of Galveston became one of the busiest in the country. In 1881, total business on the Strand amounted to $38 million, all thanks to the Port of Galveston and the United States' westward expansion. In the late 1800s, a majority of goods and people came through Galveston to get to Texas, making the city and the Strand a vibrant, vital, and bustling place where deals were made, ships supplied, and people immigrated into the United States. Galveston's business prowess lasted until September of 1900. The Great Storm, also known as the 1900 hurricane, destroyed the city and killed over 6,000 people. The Strand, much like the rest of the island, didn't fully recover from the 1900 storm. Galveston suffered severe economic decline, as most businesses moved to Houston, as it is farther inland and not as susceptible to hurricane destruction. The Strand was slowly deteriorating and being demolished for newer buildings and parking space until the 1970s and 80s. After a unified effort by community leaders, the area was revitalized to appeal to island-going tourists. The Strand was, and is still today, the heart of the city's business district. The Strand, in downtown Galveston, is a National Historic Landmark. For historic resources or more information, check out the episode description.